Hi guys, let's talk about some current geopolitical situations, right? So first we're gonna talk about America, then Europe, then we're gonna talk a bit about India, and then we're gonna talk a bit about China, and then we will might move on to Japan. So this is actually not like current situation analysis. This is more a broad analysis of how America and Europe and India and Japan might be working, and to discuss about few flaws about humanity, few flaws about reality, and see how things are going. So first we have today is that we have a lot of tariffs on America, right? America is putting a lot of tariffs, and their justification is that other countries has abused and exploited America in order to make money, and that seems fairly possible because his idea is that previous leadership was matter of fact weak and was incapable of making tough decisions, so they weren't able to protect America against foreign enemies and trade wars. So his perspective was that there is a trade war and America is not participating in it, A, or B, losing the trade war. And whenever we had a trade war in history, it has eventually erupted into physical violence. And that seems to be very clear that yeah, this might happen in future. But now the problem is now the stakes are ever higher, right? Now we have nuclear weapons. So what is he doing? What the hell is Trump doing? First of all, he is trying to round up a specific gang members, MS-13 per se, and they are really something. They are really an art of work because they have they have Lucifer's tattoo on it. I have seen few documentaries where they have tears actually tattooed on their faces, and that tear means how many people they killed. So if you have three people, they don't know how many they killed. If they have one, where they had their first blood. So that's sort of an idea where the MS-13 gang is, and he's trying to round up everyone who has worked on MS-13 gang and put them into El Salvador. Now El Salvador is actually one of the most ruthless prisons of all, and it contains one of the most dangerous and one of the most psychotic and psychopathic criminals of all time. El Salvador used to be the murder capital of the world. But since the current president has come around, it has become one of the safest country in the world. So this is a very good example of great man theory. If you are not aware of great man theory, great man theory says that everything is going to be shit until some great person comes around and makes everything right. Now that's the idea specifically, which is preached by very dogmatist people. And this is something we see in theologians, right? That Krishna comes and he saves everyone. We have some similarity between Krishna and Christ. So that's one thing. So Christ comes around and saves everyone. That's one thing. So yeah, the Great Man theory suggests that this is the case, and so far so likely it seems to be right. Do I suppose this Great Man theory? I don't know. Maybe change is something that comes around once in a while, and it doesn't really matter who brings it. There are some times that people have come around and created a very good resolution and changes of pace. For a very good example would be Napoleon's era, right? Napoleon, not Napoleon's era. Napoleon was a great man, right? So he fits into the category of the great man. MAGA movement would be good. You don't have one leader in here, right? Which is trying to save everything. You have multiple people trying to lead an ideology that might support a majority. Now there are like extreme leftists who might claim that Trump has become a Nazi, deporting all of these people, because that's what Hitler also did, right? They deported Jews. They deported a lot of people who did not align with the Nazis' current ideology. So, for example, there was anti-Semitism, then there was Muslim area. So he deported a lot of people. Now, matter of fact, I think we have done a very good job on blowing things out of proportion. So, for example, Hitler did a lot of things, right? And now we are trying to compare Trump to Hitler. So if in order to understand this fact, you have to understand the fact that he has deported significantly less people than his predecessors. So that's one thing. And he has gotten a lot of deportation for that, a lot of legal cases, sorry, for that. So that's one thing. So doing this, Joe Rogan presented a very good argument that when you're trying, when things have gone for worst, and you're trying to correct things, and there is a very big correction, okay, that everything is on left, and then there is a big correction that creates a chaos, and that chaos is very problematic. Why? Because, well, if you just round them all up and put them in El Salvador, that's not going to resolve anything. We have to make sure that we don't become the monster itself. Now that's a reason, right? That's the voice of reason in some sense. So this is what I have been asking you guys to do, right? I have been asking for you to understand perspective of both sides, and in order to become one with the information. And when you become one with the information, you develop this intuition that yes, these things might not be right, these things might be good, these things might be bad. Now, becoming one with information, it actually means in order for you to listen, understand, and judge both sides of the arguments. Now, things become more complicated when you go to like three levels, right? Then there are three parties involved. There is a European party, there is Ukrainian, and there is a Russian party. That becomes a little difficult to understand. Now, coming back to the point of El Salvador and MS-13 gangs, they have done something really brutal. They have raped, killed, and a lot of childs, and yeah, that's one thing. So there is a person who says, let's say, is not a member of MS-13 gang. So this is one deportation that might be wrong, but Trump has shown good, I think, okay evidence, or well, one of his tattoos, that his tattoos did have MS-13 gang signs on it, and he beat his wife. Though, matter of fact, his wife is actually advocating that his husband brings back. So if he was very violent and aggressive and exploitative towards her wife, I don't think she would be the one trying to, per se, lead the march which tries to bring his husband back. So that's one thing to ponder about, I guess. Now the next thing which we have to discuss is about Europe. So Europe has this incredible amount. Now Europe is right now left, right, and he's trying to work with Ukraine, and America in some sense. They relied on America for a lot of things, right? And America seemed to have backed off in the new administration, and that has created a really interesting change of magnitudes. So first we should discuss about England. So England has been proactively supporting Ukraine throughout the war, and there has been saying if and Ukraine and UK, matter of fact, and now really hates America for some sense. I don't know if they hate America or they hate MAGA per se, but there is some very bad international affair problems with UK and America. But on the higher grounds, Trump has been invited to King Charles for lunch, and they have been, I think, been talking on good terms. And other than that, other than the common hatred between people, I don't see any international conflict being arise between UK and America. Now the next thing, the next thing we have France. France has been very proactive, but what we have is Italy. Italy seems to be very cute here. Uh, yeah, and the idea of Italy is that, yeah, if you want to go to war, not with my troops. Now, Melonia is a really great leader, which has become a very very important leading character in this adventure, and she says that Western civilization has been built on the philosophies of Rome and Christian philosophies, and we should protect it. She has been against Islamification of Europe. I think there is Islamification of Europe. I don't know. It's not. You cannot say that right now. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But it's really important for you to understand the fact that we don't have enough data. Data can be manipulated with, and data can be presented in such sense that it tries to make you its slave in some sense. So this is what propaganda artists do, right? What they do is, right now the idea is that propaganda used to be like, okay, I have to say things, bypass your logical circuit in order to connect with you emotionally, and you make you agree on my terms. That is what per se it was all about, right? It was that was the propaganda. But now the propaganda has shifted in the age of information and age of misinformation. The idea right now is that, okay, fine, I present you with fake data or manipulated or data in some sense that makes sense to my point and completely not takes account of any other perspectives, right? So right now, so I bypass your I pass your logical circuit also, and I pass your emotional circuit also. So so right now what we are seeing is that people are more, how should I put it, uh, there is a very good term for it, they are they're not more skeptical, they are more gullible, and they are more brainwashed per se. So if you go to your grandma, and she has a very dogmatist ideology, if she has very rigid ideology of old traditions, and if you try to explain that, yeah, these rule made sense on maybe perhaps 10 years ago, but now they don't make sense because things has changed for a big time, maybe she'll understand for a moment. But today's generation and the current leaders, they have been brainwashed. They are brainwashing on a level where you have a logical justification for everything. You have a logical justification of painting your walls with cow dung. And now that one of, I should make it clear, because if I don't, I would be misinformation type people, right? Painting your wall with cow dung does not help in anything. Matter of fact, you have to have mud wall instead for you to paint your wall with cow dung in order to have it any effect. So that's one thing. So and also, matter of fact, I must add, in the rural areas of India, that is being done. Yes, that is being done for generations now. But you have to understand for the fact that in the winters and in the rainy seasons, it gets bad. The smell gets bad. And that solution is just for summers in person. So that's one understanding. You have to understand that right now the propaganda is on logical sense and emotional sense. So is there is Islamification of Europe? You cannot, and there is not knowing if there is one, because right now we are very good at blowing things out of proportion, and someone has to figure out a way to measure things, right? So there are people might feel very strongly about the idea C, and people B might feel very strongly about idea D, and they would both try to blame each other that other person is neo-Nazi for in order to have it. So Hitler has become a really good focus point for everyone, right? So that's one thing. So if it's right, it's Hitler. If it's left, it's probably communism. So that's a bad thing. My understanding. So, and now, for a fact, I must tell you that if there is an Islamification of Europe, no one can say. And if anyone says that yes, there is, he's either trying to manipulate you or he doesn't know how things work. So that's one thing. And now the next thing for you, now there is a possibility that there might be a Islamification of Europe, but we cannot know that right now because we don't have enough data. We don't have enough videos in order to understand this. If there is a riots, if there are riots, if there are really bad symptoms, for example, people being put on jail for in order to not, if they don't become Muslims, that might actually prove that there is an Islamification in Europe. So we have Middle East, then we have now we have Middle East, right? So Middle East has been quite rather. Now let's discuss about Israel and Hamas war. Israel has been actually doing a lot worst on how we have a lot worst on humanitarian part. Now the idea was that yes, is that Hamas terrorists should be eliminated, but there is a humane way out, and we should protect innocent people. But that seems to be less effective. That idea that we should protect innocent people, that seems to be less effective and not being very well executed. Rather, people are being executed. So that's one thing. So that comes again to the idea, right? We have to make sure that we don't become monsters. If they kill 10, we kill 10, we both are the same. And do you really want to be aligned with the idea of let's say devil, right? So now your idea, now that you might say, well, yes, okay, fine, they killed 10, but I killed 10 evil people, so I am a very good person. Yeah, that's true, but you're not killing 10 evil people, you're killing 10 innocent people. So people who just happen to live on the other side of the border, I don't think that describes evil. That describes difference. So it's very important for us to, in order to understand what's evil and what is the difference, right? Now, the multiculturalism, we don't have any multiculturalism in Europe, but in Middle East, but we are trying to see a lot of multiculturalism in Europe, and that might be a problem because there are now I think the prince of or someone in the royal family said that it's very important for Europe to understand the fact that they think they know Islam, okay, and that might be very true. That because it seems for a fact that, oops, yep, I don't know why my brightness got low. So he says that Europe thinks they know Islam, which they clearly don't, and I do get I get that part. And there is a reason that Saudi Arabia has not opened his border for everyone in Muslim. And
so you can understand what I'm saying.
I have translation.
No, I know you have translation, but I just want to make sure you get it right. There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
Saudi Arabia has been very prominent that they are not supporting extremist ideology, and UK is trying to very strongly deny that there is an extremist ideology. I have not seen a single leader except Meloni talk about the extremist perspective of Islam, and it seems to me that Europe is not being Islamified, but rather they're trying to understand. They're not trying to understand how Islams work. One, they don't understand how Islam works. Two, three, it's very important. They are underestimating the destructive nature of extremists, and they're really trying to. That's a very good point, right? They are undervaluing and underestimating the destructive nature of Islam. That's my understanding. Now coming back to India, so that's India has been doing very well on a domestic level, because domestically India has not been doing anything. We have actually there has been a person. Now let's discuss about the freedom of speech. There is a very good YouTuber called Kirtikau, and he explains the fact that India does not value, and Indian Constitution does not guarantee absolute freedom of speech. Now that's something which is important on more matured democracies, for example, America. But you have to understand for a fact that there was a time when America was not a mature democracy. They still had freedom of speech, right? India does not have freedom of speech because the constitution was manipulated by Indira Gandhi in the emergency era. So I think there is a need for free speech, and I think the idea that, oh well, it's all well and good because we are not a mature democracy, that's absolute bullshit. Because in order for us to be a mature democracy, we must have freedom of speech. Now, there will always be someone who is trying to go out of the line in order to be special. That's specifically talking about comedy. Now I'm talking about Ranveer Arabadia's situation. I don't think he said something so controversial that Chief Minister of Assam should interfere in that. I don't think people like Kunal Kamra are so full of hatred, and they should not actually, they are so full of hatred that their studios should be destroyed that they don't even own. Now, it's very important for us to understand that people, when you start to hate comedy, things have gone far too wrong. You really have to understand the fact that com- Stalin really hated comedy. Hitler really hated comedy. If we start hating comedy, we are becoming extremists. And being extremist is a very bad thing in my understanding, because under and extremism extremism is not very productive. It's very bad for socioeconomic development and very bad for psychological development. People become this brain rot animal that try to follow a regime that shouldn't be there. Now, from what I understand, if the leaders are good enough, that will never happen. But we don't have good leaders. That's very clear, that there should be leaders who support free speech, free expression, and that support the culture in a way that it makes sense, let's say. So that's one thing. And I think the whole idea of Ranveer Lavadia's situation is absolutely stupid. I don't think it deserves the hate at this level, because it was not really bad. But on the other side, that seemed really bad at the first time, because I don't think he said it right. It's just that it really matters how you say it. He did not say it right. He did not say it right. So that's one thing. The other thing about Japan's birth rate has been decreasing very rapidly, and that's a bad thing. But in order for us to understand a few things, I think Japan has been innovating technologies and under the curtain for a very long time, and they have been a very strong partners with SpaceX and other car manufacturing companies. For example, SpaceX, Tesla, Honda, and BMW. They have been very very interesting in technology front. I would I think I would rather do a technological analysis of Japan if you guys want. Please comment, because that way engagement बढ़े, right? My engagement should also grow. Engagement. So I think, yeah, that's for all. That's the news for today. So where are we going? Why we have so much chaos in the world? So I think that underlines the physical the pain of reality, right? So right now that we are becoming more egalitarian per decade, I'd say yes, we are becoming more egalitarian for every decade, and there is an opportunity to achieve egalitarian society. And I don't think that's with capitalism. I really don't, because if you think that you should really if you think that we can achieve egalitarian society with capitalism, I think you should study how hedge funds work. They literally bet on worlds collapsing. There was I remember listening to an interview of a very good trader, a very good forex trader, and he said that, yeah, Japan was hit by a tsunami, and there was they predicted an economic crash, and what did they do? Make cash. And then the trader he said to his friend that, hey, should we do anything about this? And he was like, yeah, we did. We put in the money. We put in the trade. And he's like, no. Should we do something about this? And he's like, bro, I don't understand what you're saying. So that's one thing. That's how hedge funds work, maybe. So you have to understand that they have a lot of money, and it's not their responsibility to fix the world. Politicians are responsibilities to fix the world, but they are not the one to do that. Then whose responsibility is to fix the world? Maybe great leaders, maybe leaders who really understand how the world works. Maybe that's one thing. Now, in order to understand the intellectual argument of the situation, I don't know what is the intellectual argument. Our intellectuals are supposed to lead the world, in my understanding, and I don't mean to say that everyone is stupid. I just think everyone other who is not an intellectual is stupid. I don't think that. I think intellectuals have a responsibility, and so is the people non-intellectual people. And I really hate the word intellectual in many understandings. When I say intellectual, I just mean people who understand the situation, people who understand history, people who understand philosophy, people who understand ethics. They should be leading us, because that's where the real knowledge is. Now, the people who are strong with arms, but they should be leading us in actually military. They should be leading us, in manufacturing and industrialization of things. But that doesn't seem to be the case. The real intellectuals are busy making money, because that seems to be the right course. The top 100 economists are traders and hedge fund managers. That shouldn't be the case, I think. The top 100 economists should be world leaders, but money is just too fancy. I think that's happening prominently because world has no goal, right? Has to be. I'm presenting you with a vision, right? I'm presenting with you with a vision that world is supposed to have a goal, which if every country should agree, yes, we should achieve this goal by this deadline. So sort of like making world a company. That yeah, every departments are saying yes, this is a goal and we should achieve this. This did happen, by the way. When there was do you remember the marches of Plant Tree? That really did happen, and that the goal we did achieve 10 years before the deadline on how much ozone layer should we save. So when we agree on how should I put it? When we agree on goals, we achieve it. It's very important. It's very important for world to have a goal, and there has to be leaders that should come out of this world that makes everyone agree that yes, these are the goals we should achieve. Now, if you want to be a multiplanetary civilization, that's a no-brainer, right? That's a no-brainer. So that's it from my side, guys. I really hope that I have shed some light upon current world situations, and I have given a good perspective on how things are going long term. Now, when I said I mean current situation, I didn't mean to say like aaj kya ho raha hai, what's happening today. That's not what I'm going to discuss. I'm rather going to discuss things more passively, because it takes time for data to come. And yeah, please make sure to subscribe this channel and like in order to support me. And yeah, thank you very much, and I will see you next time.